that organization and their leaders spearheaded and fought for those in America.
So these things that are just kind of givens, they established.
Yes.
Fascinating.
No, you.
Oh! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Modular Components. It's another one of those shows. It's a show where we got a guest, and I'm feeling a little under the weather. You can probably tell my sinuses are slightly stuffy, but that's fine because I'm the vacuuminator, and as always, I get out there, I do the work, and I make this content for you people. And joining me in that endeavor is, as always, the absolutely stupendous Boingo Rider.
Hey, howdy.
Howdy. We also have the one true Buster.
I am laying down. I'm actually like upside down right now, I think. I don't know. I'm
Whoa,
recording
you're
this
taking
off my
better
phone.
care of yourself than me.
No, I'm not actually. It's not. It's slouching on a couch with like. It's like one of those couches with like no.
Is it like a sectional?
I think so. I think that's what you call it. I don't know.
Interesting.
I record this show in weird places. I'm sorry.
You sure do. But one thing that's not weird, just always messing up our appearances whenever he comes to town. It's, as always, the Beyond Sid Part 2.
Hi,
Ian. Why are your episodes cursed?
I don't know, man. I'm too fucking good. The universe is trying to keep me down.
Apparently, because like I'm not sure how many people are aware of the overarching lore of Ian's appearances on Modular Media, but like the first time you were here, it was a complete disaster. I was sick. I kept coughing. I couldn't keep a coherent thought, and then we tried to have you on at the start of the year, and you ended up getting sick, so we had to reschedule for this week. And then I got sick earlier this week, and I'm only just now kind of coming off it. Plus, I've been messaging you all day, not sure if you were actually going to come today or not.
My bad. I'm sorry. I've had a really busy day. I cleaned the bathrooms, and I got my office like 75% in order because I've just had like fucking Legos all over the floor, all for like at least 2 months.
Oh boy.
50 fire hazards at once.
I mean, it's more just like a booby trap or some kind of insane test of might kind of challenge just awaiting whoever dares enter the office of
well, it's all good, and hey, we finally got you on here for a big proper episode with most of the boys in town, so why don't you take a little moment and reintroduce yourself to our audience and tell them what you do here on the internet.
Hi, I'm Sub2. I've been running, like, it's probably not the longest running podcast on YouTube or just ever, but like it feels like the longest running podcast of its type, of just like friends that start up a channel and goof around and talk shit. So I do Geeky Gentleman. And that's been going for, this year, come June, that'll be 10 years. No, wait, no, my bad. I've fucked that up. It was 10 years last July. So there you go. So it's been going for over 10 years. It's kind of crazy to think about. This year I've come to terms with myself just being an old man. Then I also do, over on my friend A Geek for Fun's YouTube channel, we do What Ifs, our most popular, most famous, basically our only one of any length is What If Goku was in DC, aka Dragon Ball DC. That is a whole multi-arc spanning thing that completely reimagines the DC universe, because, hey, it's a DC universe where Superman doesn't exist, and you imagine all the fucking complications that the works. And it's just it's a fun time. It's a great what if. Whether you're a Dragon Ball fan or a DC fan, I recommend checking it out. Or if you just like the idea of alternate worlds, don't be intimidated by not knowing all the characters, because we try to make sure to do proper storytelling and introduce you to characters and ideas independent of having to know the canon. So that's always. What else do I do on just bullshit mostly. I just fuck around and find out. That's kind of my brand. I remember years ago I had a conversation with a friend, and I was like, "Man, no one really watches my YouTube." Well, it's because you don't really you're not really known for a thing. You just kind of do like a lot of different things, and so people kind of come to you because they like you, as opposed to they're interested in this topic. And he said that back then as if it was a bad thing, and I've come to just kind of realize, thank God that I'm not shoehorned into one specific thing like so many people on the internet that just get burnt the fuck out by this one thing that they don't even like doing anymore, but they don't have a choice. This is it. This is your career.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that definitely is something to be talked about. You don't have a very consistent brand, but then again, I've never gotten the feel from you that, like, you wanted to have a brand or even really be a big, successful YouTuber. Your channel is very appealing into the fact that it kind of still feels like early 2010s YouTube, where it's just people BSing around and making shit for the heck of it, rather than we're trying to present a product people want to come and consume, which is very much the era of YouTube we're in now, and I think a lot of the people in Modular are trying to achieve. I listened to an episode of Geeky Gentleman, and it just kind of feels like a conversation at a comic book store or in a theater or something like that, rather than we're trying to make a serious think piece about this movie and hit all the appropriate talking points so that you know our complete thoughts about this and you want to support us because we said the things you like or want to hear.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's definitely what we aim for. How often we succeed is one thing or another, but I don't like. There's like a fakeness, and I don't want to judge anyone that does that. But there's just like a disingenuousness to it that kind of I can I can so I'm never super into that kind of type of I just want.
Yeah. I definitely can agree with that sentiment where it's you want the content to feel as genuine as possible, but for people like us where we are very much trying to build a career, we have to strike that balance. Like I know things like no prize and twit can maybe come off like I'm trying to be Mr. Hey, happy host man, but I am still talking about a thing I like and have opinions on. It's just I have to couch it in that YouTube branding.
There's an interesting thing when it comes to the artificiality of sincerity on YouTube, because you can make a presentation that seems amateur and seems unfiltered and all that kind of stuff, but in and of itself, it is a framing device of insincerity being portrayed as a sincere kind of conceptualization. And I think people are realizing that, and also realizing that heavily edited and curated videos in and of themselves are not inherently insincere as conceptual ideas, but are just a different form of sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to work, man. I'm just trying to do what I can, and, like, talk about what I want to do. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? You know, I'm just trying to vibe, man. I don't really like. I guess like sometimes I think existentially, but usually I call that going down the like, oh God, staring into the abyss rabbit hole, where I think so much about the existentialism of YouTube, and I just like, nope, get out. Just focus on your thing. What do you want to do? You just want to talk about media you like, some cool like tidbits, some like hit this point, hit this point. It doesn't matter if it's an hour long. It can be like 2 minutes, as long as you talk about what you want to talk about. That's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of the goal I'm trying to achieve.
But there's that kind of mindset with creation, but then you have like someone like H Bomber guy making however many hours it was to talk about Tommy Tallarico. I wouldn't say that video is insincere, even though it's heavily edited, heavily scripted, heavily filterized, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love Defunct Land, but I'm just like, that's what he does. Like, he does that documentary style. Like, well, I don't think I can, so I'm just not even gonna bother. Like, maybe later, but like, I don't know. I just like, I'm sticking to like what I want to do, and like, I appreciate what everyone else is trying to do, and I like what they're doing. But like, I just want to do what I can, you know, doing what I can.
I mean, that's definitely a debate that's been on YouTube, I think, longer than any of us, is the debate of, is YouTube valuable because it's more so things that are about other things outside of YouTube rather than things that are just meant to stand on their own? And I always kind of come down on the side of, well, YouTube is more so meant to be a companion piece to a lot of media. You know, you can go and check something out without having seen the thing it's about, but that is hopefully there to entice you to check that thing out rather than acting as a replacement for the thing. Or if you've already seen the thing, it's meant to better put your thoughts into context.
I mean, you hope that, but like the number of people that just go to the review or the like pre-made thought piece or whatever it is, the rant in some case, and just take that away and nothing but that away is just it's like an epidemic. Like
it is ridiculous.
My favorite new meme that I've heard and like just seen around, and I love it. I can't wait till it is. That's an interesting opinion. What YouTuber gave it? And I just
that's been a meme since 2018.
I was going to say that's a pretty old meme.
Well, it's new to me because I've not seen it around that much.
Yeah,
yeah. You're also a dad who doesn't have a lot of internet time anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, God, I fucking love.
I mean, that's basically just an evolution of that like History of Power Rangers meme, where it's like oh, I watched History of Power Rangers and now I've watched all of Power Rangers or something. I don't know. Or is that for History of Kamen Rider? I don't know.
I don't think that's an evolution of it. It's just something in a similar vein. But yeah. I definitely do agree that people doing that with YouTube videos is a big problem. But I also think that's more a problem in that people are stupid rather than like YouTube is a problem. It's just people don't understand how to use this tool in the way that it was intended to do.
I mean, it like we can go with the big famous example of how many teenage boys base their entire musical preferences on what Anthony Fantano says.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Was that a thing?
Okay. I don't watch I've only watched Anthony Fantano videos like a handful of times, so I don't really, and I'm also not much of a music guy, so but that is pretty sad.
I'm basing my music taste off anime cover arts.
That's a different kind of sad.
Well, I evolved from it.
Did you though? Did you really?
Yeah. I still listen to anime covers, but like, just I listen to like a bunch of stuff now.
Oh wow.
Tokusatsu covers don't count.
I'm like, I've been looking for those all the time, and I can only find like 2 good ones.
Yeah. It's sad being the minority, isn't it?
We're not making Tokusatsu fans of my minority group. No, we're not doing that. No.
The ultimate oppressed race, the Tokusatsu fans.
Remember, you just became a gamer, so
we're not
just became. It's less like I just became a gamer, and it's more like I'm a lapsed gamer who's getting back into it.
You allowed yourself to be gamer again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Have you played any games recently, or you been too sick?
I've been too busy and sick. I could have played some Scott Pilgrim while I was sick, but I was not bothered.
Fair.
God, where was this conversation going?
I don't fucking know. We've started with the sincerity of the YouTube presentation.
Yeah. I mean, like, my channel right now is very much trying to be, it's about things, but it's also very much about my new persona that I'm kind of trying to build of loud, screaming, homeless guy who thinks he knows best about everything.
Oh, you're going for the nostalgia critic market.
If I was going for that market, you would fucking know it. I am not going for that market at all. I'm more so trying to build a cult of personality than he ever was. He just did that on accident, okay?
Well, Boingo is just combining Chester A. Bum and the Nostalgia Critic, like 2 Doug Walker characters together as a trope, like,
Okay, but I'm actually putting thought into the things I say. Chester A. Bum is nothing but hyperbolicism.
Bullocks.
No. I have a weird, because here's the thing, like, just because of the stuff I make, I have a very weird and tenuous relationship with authenticity and sincerity with internet content creation.
Mhm.
I mean, it's even harder for you as a VTuber, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like there is a level of insincerity of the fact that it's like, oh, I'm a robot. I was in a warehouse for years. Like, it's a story, and in some regards, one could say it's even a more sincere story than like a fictionalized account of real life, because we all know that it's a fictional story and we can all invest in it. It's kayfabe.
Mm.
You mean wrestling?
But then is that kayfabe any more valuable than a kayfabe that is autobiographical? Like, to me, that's the same thing as saying, like, whatever The Rock was doing in the early 2000s is more valuable than what Hangman's been doing recently.
Well, it's a difference of conceptualization and storytelling. It's like just because the story didn't actually happen, is it wrong that it makes you cry?
I guess I can agree with that. I can see where you're coming from.
We are getting weird and heady in here.
Oh man, this is going to be one of those nights, huh? Quick, Ian, say something funny, non sequitur.
Just because you're in a plane doesn't mean you'd survive a tsunami.
Oh my god.
That's not a funny fact. That's not funny. That's just a terrifying fact of life.
No, that is absolutely 100% the dumbest possible thing anyone could ever say.
I was gonna say, what Mark Millar comic did that come from?
Here's the thing. Realistically, it depends on where the plane is.
I mean, sure, if the plane's on the ground, yes, you still die. But I think everyone and their brother would admit that the implication is the plane is flying, and I love it so much because there's this thing that they teach you to do if you're dealing with like someone who's freaking out or has like dementia or just like can't be talked to reasonably, and it's not like tell them to calm down or be relaxed and calm. No, it's none of that. It's just say something so stupid that like it just breaks them out of it, because they just have to sit there and marvel and think about the stupidity of what you just said. So that's when you go to is just because you're flying in a plane doesn't mean you survive a tsunami. And I'm just like, everything in your, like every fiber in your being hears that, you're like, no, of course you'd survive a tsunami you'd survive a tsunami in a fucking boat. What do you mean a plane?
That's really interesting that that's a real thing, because that sort of logic almost sounds like something a lazy writer would put in a Doctor Who script to make the rest of the episode seem more clever.
You know, it's one of those things where like it sounds so stupid, but then it turns out to be the thing. Like have you heard of like a Michelin star restaurant?
I've been made familiar with this concept in the last couple of years thanks to a certain podcast that we talk about way too much on this show.
Crash Taste?
Yes.
Okay, so for those that don't know, right, a Michelin star restaurant is like kind of a big deal. It means that you're like a really good restaurant. The more stars you have, the better you are as well. But you hear the name Michelin star restaurant, you think, Michelin like the tire company? Nah, that can't be it. It's got to be something else. That'd be stupid. And then you find out, no, it's actually the fucking tire company. The place that sells tires also, for some fucking reason, rates the best restaurants.
I know the reason. There's a reason behind it. There's a completely 100% logical reason behind all of that.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's objectively stupid, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Because in the early days of the automobile, basically anybody who's working with cars was trying just to promote cars. This is like cars, you know? So Michelin, which is a French tire company, was like, okay, how can we get more people interested in buying our tires? And someone came up with the idea of like, oh, what if we make little travel guides that we just sell at we just have at our tire stores, and you can just pick one up for free, and you can travel all over France, and we say which restaurants are good. Oh, sweet, let's give it a star rating. And so the more stars a restaurant has, the more good they are. Oh, that's great. And it became a very prestigious thing to be printed in this travel guide. And then it kept continuing to the rest of Europe and then the rest of the world. And now it's just like a thing they have.
Which is still so stupid that it's the fucking tire company.
I was going to say, is there like a whole division of Michelin that just employs restaurant critics? Oh my god.
Yes. Hey, you want to know another fucked up thing?
No.
Guinness World Records is Guinness the beer company.
So a
Why?
beer company technically has
Because
a
you have
million
arguments in a goddamn bar, you want answers.
Okay, that actually
Oh,
makes sense.
jeez.
I think
The
they may be
world-
separate companies now, but they started as the same thing.
It's amazing.
The world is a very strange place, boys.
Yeah, maybe we should learn more about it through a very fancy invention.
You know what? You know what? There was this one man. His name was Ripley. He said, "Believe it or not."
Boingo, that's your worst pun ever. Like that, I don't even know how we feel about that, mate.
Yeah, on 10 November 1951, Sir Hugh Beaver, the then managing director of Guinness Breweries, went on a shooting party in North Slob at River Slaney in County Wexford, Ireland. After missing a shot, he became involved in an argument which was the fastest game bird in Europe. And basically from there it sprang. The world is fucked, man. The world is
I just coughed my entire brain out.
Put it back in then.
I'm trying.
Did you know Ripley was actually a sports writer? And Ripley's, believe it or not, were about like sports stats and stuff. Is like, oh, did you know this guy fucking ran this fast? Believe it or not.
Yeah, and then it just became like fucking
Mystery
guy's
shack
toenails
bullshit.
are 3 feet long.
This man was 10 feet tall. Believe it or not.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Are we just gonna do the rest of this podcast in a mid-Atlantic accent?
Please
Yes.
do. It's funny.
This week's episode of Modular Components brought to you by Quentin Trimbley.
This week,
What did you
No.
mean? Falls?
now to the war theater of Europe, and we see our good old boys giving it to them Nazis.
Oh, great.
Give them Nazis. What more?
And the funny thing about you mentioned that Gravity Falls is that I was about to bring it up. I don't even know what I was gonna bring up about it. I was just gonna bring it up. I don't know. I was thinking about it.
That's a good show.
Yeah, I've just been thinking about it because the DVD is going out of print, and I'm just holding on to mine
Oh, damn.
close. Yeah, I actually do recommend it. Every single episode, all 40 episodes, have a commentary track.
That's
one of the
almost
best
unheard of.
Yeah, and it's a Shout Factory DVD, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Whoa, Shout Factory and effort? Those are things that don't go together.
Legit. Like whoever was cooking that DVD, they were cooking, man.
They were cooking hard, like Scott the Woz.
It's got taste.
They were cooking hard, like Babish from Binging with Babish.
Oh my god. How many other YouTubers can we mention tonight to get our clout up? Hold on in silence.
No, I'm thinking. I have ideas, but I need to mention them in funny ways.
Even Ian's like, ah, shit, I already plugged Geeks for Fun.
Fucking Smugstick, the other Dragon Ball whatever I know. So take that. He's got 100,000 subscribers.
I've never heard of him, but hey, I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, so maybe
You're a loser. 200.
Yeah, I am a big loser.
Subscribers. Maybe I should go on that channel.
Oh my god.
Zach would like certain elements of Dragon Ball.
I mean,
Vac would like Team Fortress Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
I mean, this gets us back to the earlier topic, but I have watched enough Dragon Ball dissection to know I think Dragon Ball is good and probably something I'd like. I just don't want to put in the efforts.
I'd do like a show with you about Dragon Ball because I've been kind of wanting to rewatch the arcs again. I'd do a show with you if you wanted to do like arc, and I don't have the time to do like individual episodes. If you wanted to do like we're gonna watch an arc, I'd do.
Do I have to do the filler? Do I have to experience the 1990s authenticity of he's gonna go Super Saiyan, he's gonna go Super Saiyan? Ah.
I mean that's just DBZ Kai.
Yeah, well, no, Kai's the one that's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You watch Kai, not.
See, it's funny because a couple of years ago, like right before Leah was born, we did a big watch through of everything again, and Alfie sent me a bunch of not necessarily fan edits. One of them was, but a bunch of like stuff that just tried to make the anime as close to the manga as possible because that's what Kai was. But then they didn't do like original Dragon Ball like that. So I watched a version of that, and I think that came out to like 80-ish episodes for the entire series of Dragon Ball, like Goku leaving the mountain to defeating Piccolo Jr. And then I watched DBZ Kai after that, except for the Boo Saga, because the Boo Saga of Kai isn't very good. So I actually watched a fan edit of that cut it down to 11-hour-long episodes. And I'm still wanting to see someone take Super and cut them all into movies, because you got the movie for Battle of Gods, which is one of the best Dragon Ball things, period. And then someone did a really fucking great movie cut where they combined the original film for Resurrection F and the anime arc for it to create a more cohesive, singular piece. And that was really good. But as far as I can tell, no one's done like a good movie cut of any of the other Super arcs. And I would like for that to, but we wait.
This
Maybe
sounds like it would require a lot of hand holding on your part, Ian.
Not really. I mean, it's just, here's the link to this edit of it that condenses it down to, here's this arc.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe people get to editing when the new Dragon Ball anime, whenever the next Dragon Ball TV anime comes.
Man, finally that got officially announced. It's been since 2018. Like every week, there's the new Dragon Ball Super anime continuation is going to be announced.
Apparently, Dragon Ball fans got pissed at Pretty Cure fans because it's like,
I was about to say, is Dragon Ball just Precure for boys now? Is there just new anime original shit every year now?
No, there's one movie. There's a couple.
They just did the movie last year.
Kamen Rider's Precure for boys.
I was waiting for you to say that, you fuck.
Well, actually, it's Sentai, because they both Kamen Rider's becoming more team-oriented.
Hey, Sentai is for everybody.
Yeah, I'd say Sentai's more... It leans boys, but is presented gender-neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except for the times when it isn't.
You can say that about anything.
Yeah, true. I just wanted to be dumb. I just wanted to make a dumb joke.
But, no.
Why are we talking about butts?
Because we cannot lie. All the other brothers can't deny. A girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
Yeah, maybe instead of the show, you should just have Vac read the manga, because I don't know. He likes comics.
I've been meaning to do that too. I bought the first volume of the Saiyan Saga in full color, and that's a one. I don't know. I really like Dragon Ball. It's fucking expensive, and I barely have any goddamn time to read anymore. So I'd probably just end up sitting on it, and I've fallen off on so fucking hard. I think it's been
that is a good other topic to get into, though, because you used to be the comics guy I knew, and now it's become a running gag that you don't read comics anymore.
Well, the reason I was the comics guy is because I was doing the review, and the review show, whether it was the one I did with you or just having, my weekly episodes, it provided a requirement for me to read. And then I don't have the time to do that anymore. And for the first year Leo was born, I was still reading every so often and trying to go back and read some archive stuff on the DC app. But I don't have the fucking time or energy to sit down and read. I'm exhausted, and I don't want to do the very basic mental energy thing of reading when I have
looking at a printed page.
Well, it's a very different mindset between reading something and watching a show, or even what I'm doing now, just fucking playing with Legos, because the Lego thing is different because it still requires a lot of mental and then additional physical energy of I had to stop doing it at night when I was working, because I was going to work and my fucking back was killing me because I was leaning over and stuff. But the mental energy associated with it is very different, because it's fueling the creative side of your brain of holding something, creating something, versus the mental energy of the books I often deal with really heavy, deep political shit. And I need a fucking escape from the world right now. So I don't even want to deal with that level of thought. So it's just a whole fucking thing. I've just fallen off comics so hard because of just nature of getting older and having a kid, and it affects your life in ways you would not think. If you had told me when Haley was pregnant that I was going to stop reading comics within a year of Leah's birth, I'd have been like, why? Because I won't want to? And you'd be like, no, you're so fucking tired. I probably wouldn't have believed you.
I mean, that does seem to be a very
But it's
common
not the
thing
time.
for geek parents, from what I hear, is you kind of have to just let your interests go by the wayside for like the first 5 to 10 years of your kid's life.
Pretty much. And that's kind of what I've just predicted is like, I'll still be able to do the Lego thing and whatever, but I don't think I'm going to have time to read comics or get like caught up on, maybe a trade every so often or something or a standalone novel, but I cannot imagine being.
What is the most current thing you've read?
When did we do that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow review?
Oh my god.
That
It was like back in
probably,
November, but that book had only just wrapped up.
Yep, that was probably it.
Was that November? I feel like it was earlier, actually. Oh my god. Let me check the tape here.
See, my thing with comics, or just like just in general, like books or just comics, it's just like the way they're released. Because I think I'm part of the problem of short attention spans that are like making that like the industry blames me for. Because comics released once a month, and they need that time to be made for like monthly releases. But often I'll start a book
unless you're an artist at DC, then you apparently need like 5 months.
Yes. Well,
and you wonder why Greg Land stays employed at Marvel.
By the way, it was September that we did that episode.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, no, I'm terrible about it. I've become the very thing I hated most. When it comes to just reading comics nowadays, it's like I don't have the time, so I kind of glean information between, Steve and Alfie talking about it in our private chat and stuff, and I'm just like, it sounds kind of cool, but nah, I got the.
It's hilarious whenever I'm reading something, because I tend to dive into the very weird world aspects of Marvel, and I try to explain what's happening to Zach, and he just looks at me as like, "What the fuck are you even saying?"
And then even I am definitely the most casual kind of comic taste guy I know, whereas like I like the very basic street level superhero storytelling. But if you try and get cosmic or out there with anything with me, I gotta really push myself to care. Like even God, it would be so interesting to get your take on Dark Crisis, because so many people were like, this is the worst or stupidest thing ever. So many people were like, this is pretty good, or this is okay. And I was like, I mean, it's a book. It's happening. This is clearly all driven by marketing decisions. I'm sorry.
Ain't that like most big events these days?
Unfortunately.
The other funny thing is, because I'm still like doing stuff, related to DC, is I kind of find out about a lot of this stuff secondhand now too, which is funny because like someone came to the servers like, if Darkseid's gonna have the new Dark Crisis origin associated with him, what will that mean for the implications for your story? I had to like have a fucking 13-year-old who didn't actually read the comic, but just like read a summation of it on some fucking website or Twitter thread or whatever. Explain to me like the new Darkseid implications, and I'm like, no, that sounds dumb. I don't
he doesn't even really have that many new implications, does he? I didn't even think he was that involved in Dark Crisis, except that he was like fucking Pariah's puppet for 2 seconds.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but it was like this whole thing of like Darkseid now has not only all the memories of himself like across all the different Crisis events, but he's got like the all the power taken away from each like incarnation, each crisis that's happened. He's got it all back. At least that's the way it was explained to me, and I'm like, but that's dumb. That's like it's I just don't like power scale-y shit where it's like, oh, so this is
must have been in a day and I skipped or something, because I don't remember Darkseid even talking in the main book.
Maybe I just like I don't know. That's the thing. I'm so fucking out of the loop, but I'm just like, and this is kind of why I understand why the comics industry is having so much of a hard time, because the people who experience things like this, of course they hate comics and they say stupid shit because they're not actually reading the things. They're just seeing people's takes from it. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the YouTuber thing of the fuckers that post like out of context panels, or you're like comic historian on YouTube. I think the fucking comic historian on YouTube should get hit with the biggest fucking copyright infringement lawsuit of all time and just never be able to get out from a mountain of legal debt for it. Because if I was the head of DC, that would be my first fucker that I go after. Because all these, him and his ilk, all they fucking do is they go to the comic shop, or even if that, they probably go to Pirate West for all I fucking know. But they go to the sites, they get the story, they read the story, and then they just narrate what happened. They tell you what happened, and they show you all the panels from the book that like matter and have importance. And then they just, that's it. That's the whole fucking thing. That's all they do is they spoil the whole book, show you all the art that matters from the whole book, and then on top of that, some of them will sprinkle in their opinions on it. And you have a whole fucking generation of people that just, that's all they consume of the thing. They don't actually read the book. They just consume that. And they come away with these just fucking opinions about what's good and what's bad and what characters matter and what don't. And yada, 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 yada. And it's just fucking infuriating as someone that actually reads the books. And now I'm like kind of getting that, though. I'm getting that secondhandness where I'm like, oh, I don't like that decision. That sucks. I'm definitely not going to read that. And then I have to sit there and kind of catch myself and go, no, Ian, you don't fucking know because you're not reading the book. You're experiencing this thing. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, I've had that experience with other media before where it's like people are live tweeting. Like, I'm in the Tokusatsu fandom and we have to wait for things to get fan subbed. For like, so people just decide we're going to watch the live broadcast and then they'll just be like live tweeting reaction things, and they'll post so many out of context in a language they don't understand.
People who don't even understand Japanese are talking about a Japanese TV show before English subtitles are even available.
That's
Yeah.
People will be like, "Oh my god, Dawn Brothers was insane this week," and then I'll go watch it, and I'm like, I mean, it's an episode of Dawn Brothers, but it's no more insane than normal.
Yeah.
It's also, I think there's an element of also, everybody wants their opinion to be distinct, unique, and special.
Yeah, it's clout chasing, I call it.
No, that's not clout chasing. Clout chasing is going after a person with big numbers and saying, "Hey, be my friend."
Okay, well, like you're still chasing numbers. Like
But words have meaning, Buster.
I know. I'm sorry.
I definitely do get where you're coming from there, Ian. I mean, I've never watched a single comics historian video, so I can't quite give a take on him specifically, but I do see those videos around, and I even still watch some people that I guess could kind of fall under that ring, but I feel like, I mean, specifically, we've talked about comic pop a lot on this channel, both positively and negatively, but that's because they are much more focused on their opinions of the thing rather than recapping the thing. The hook is, we're going to tell you what happens in this thing, but it's also a lot of, now here's why we think this is good or bad, which I think is what makes it actual valid YouTube analytical content. I still happen to disagree with them a whole lot, but that's also interesting in that it's challenging me and helps me reaffirm my own viewpoints. But then you still have people like, again, getting back to an earlier thing in the podcast where we made a joke of like, oh, I'm kind of like that guy with the glasses guy now. Linkara is still active, and he's a guy who literally just goes, here's what happens in this thing with occasional jokes. Because that style of review is still acceptable to some people for some reason.
Like, and that's the thing, is that's like a whole generation's media literacy is just that. And fucking wrap your head around what that means. Like, I was talking with my friend Steve about this, where people honestly think now that just reading a summation of a thing as like basic as a tweet is an acceptable substitute for reading, watching, whatever. And I'm
honestly, I'm really glad we had this conversation because it kind of reaffirms like a value I've been thinking about a lot with my own content. Because I'm always like, I've talked to Vac a lot about this. I'm always afraid of my content being too short because it's like at maximum my usual videos go like 2 to 5 minutes because I don't like spend time recapping. I get right into it. All right, here's my thoughts. This is a little premise. Here's the premise, and then okay, here's my thoughts on the characters, themes, and then like And like people like they tell me they like it, but I always feel like insecure because I always see these like bigger videos that like delve deeper into the plot and like a 40 minutes, hour, 3 hours. And then like as we have this conversation, I realize a lot of those videos I could probably cut 20 minutes of it because they recap the plot. But then again, like sometimes the plot recap goes into they have to explain it because then they're gonna analyze it. So it's like like
See, okay, but here's my thing with because I've been doing reviews again for like 11 fucking years now, right?
yeah.
And my thing with that is you really shouldn't have to summarize it because if someone's watching a review of it, you should just assume they watched the thing. And I understand that's like bad from a like analytical point of view because of course the algorithm is feeding people that want to do the least work and just find out the most. But like as far as just as a review, yeah, you really shouldn't explain something unless like it is really, really vital to the point you are making. Like you shouldn't explain a scene or the plot or anything. You should just be like, this scene didn't make any sense. The scene where they grab the wine doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't add anything. This really could have been cut from the fucking. Then you can make your point and move the fuck on. And that's just what it should be. You shouldn't be like, as a reviewer, why the fuck are you summarizing anything unless it is because you're assuming your audience didn't watch it?
Why do you even need to discuss the story in a linear fashion? Why not string the points together in a way that makes coherent sense for the way you speak about media?
Mm-hmm. Like that's my thing. Is it just doesn't track, man.
But it also all depends on like I think there's just a severe lack of like understanding of how to genuinely talk about art in a specific analytical sense. Because here's the thing. Like, yes, art is subjective, but you can prove your opinions with art. You can point to an aspect of a piece of work and say, I interpret it this way, these elements I see in this specific way, and it resulted in this emotional reaction, and I feel like this wasn't the intent that they were going for, this was the intent they were going for. And people don't know how to get from A to B there, so they just skip over to Z.
And they just start explaining the plot. And I don't know. I've never liked it when someone's explained the plot. I used to get on someone who I used to talk with a lot of Geeky Gentlemen. They'd always start doing that where they explain shit. I'm like, no, don't fucking do that. We know what happened. We watched the movie. Just get on with it. I want to get the fucking like Monty Python. Get on with it.
I genuinely don't remember this person's name, but I have to ask because I re-listened to this episode a while ago. Is this the person that kept trying to like read from panels of what the fuck was it? Neil Gaiman's DC thing.
Sandman?
Yeah, there was somebody who was like literally reading panels of Sandman as you guys were just trying to talk about Volume 1. And there's literally a point in the episode where you go, they fucking get it. Let's talk about this. We'll be here all day if you do this.
Honestly, it's been so long since we talked about Sandman, I don't remember who was on that episode. I don't remember shit anymore. I
want to say it was you, Steve, Manos, and that one other guy whose name I genuinely can't remember.
It might have been. That might have been one. But like, it's so funny to me because when I first started doing Geeky Gentlemen, like probably the first 2 years of it, I tried really hard to like remember everything I was saying because I used to be like really anxious about contradicting myself. I used to be like really insecure about saying something or changing my point of view and having it be known because just the era I grew up in that was seen as really bad.
People want to catch you out when they don't realize that human beings can change and evolve.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was very like self-conscious about repeating myself with stories or saying something that was contradictory to something I said earlier. So I tried to like keep track of a lot of that. Now at this point I'm like, when the fuck did this person even join what was their first episode? I don't fucking remember. That you mean they weren't here forever? That's just kind of like, that's what fucking 11 years extra will do to you. Everything's gone now.
Yeah. I mean, there are huge chunks of my history that I can't remember anymore. Like, I know I made a bunch of videos in the same vein as this one I remember, but I don't remember what they all were, and I don't fucking have the files anymore, so we're never going to see them again.
The lost Vacuuminator episodes.
The content nobody asked for.
I think I asked for one of it. Maybe, I don't know.
Gosh, I don't know. I guess I can remember. I can remember both the first time I was on Geeky Gentleman and the first time I listened to it, because it is tied into something we were talking about before we started recording. I started listening to Geeky Gentleman literally the first time you had Captain Logan on.
Oh, so that was the review where we're talking about death, which is a
Yeah.
topic that I've not completely changed my viewpoint on, but have drastically rethought since then.
And I didn't even understand the topic or what even was really going on with your channel when I first listened to that, because the way Cap made everybody aware of it at the time, and I don't think I've ever even talked about Captain Logan or Geekvolution on Modular Media before, but whatever, we're gonna barrel ahead. He just put up this bizarre video
Which
that
was my idea. I'll take the fall for that one because
okay, because that video made it seem like this was going to be some kind of Spawn Year-esque storyline thing, and then it's just a podcast talking about this esoteric literary topic that I'd never even heard of before at that time.
No, I mean it kind of was because the whole way that I'd gotten started with Captain Logan and stuff was he did that series Who Reviews the it was kind of like a game show thing for criticism. And I'd gotten kicked off of that, and instead of just going by the wayside with any kind of grace or dignity like everyone else did, I was like, nah, they're gonna remember me. So I started making videos about how I was gonna get revenge on the judges for kicking me off, and that was my kickoff one was, oh no, it's totally fine. I'm totally happy to just go not, and I just pulled out a knife. And then that was haha, that's so funny. And then as other people got kicked off,
that is some 2010s level random right there.
Yeah, but as other people got kicked off, I was like, hey, join my thing about getting revenge. It'll be so funny. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so the first episode, and Geeky Gentleman was born from that because it was the first three hosts were me, Zazubar, who doesn't even make videos, and I've not talked to in years because he just started he just left the YouTube thing behind, and I guess me along with him. And Milan Jeftik, who became a fucking super right-wing Nazi because that's just the evolution of the 2010s.
For God's sake.
Yep. So it was the three of us, and so that was the first episode where we had Captain Logan on for it, and so it was all tied
it was literally the first episode, okay.
Well, no, that wasn't the first episode of it. That was the first episode we had him on for it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Now we'd been doing it close to a year by that point, maybe. It's hard to say. It's so weird that the origins of the show have so little to do with the show at this point because I don't even watch or talk to Captain Logan anymore because he kind of upset me.
Yeah, I think that just tends to happen with YouTubers you're a fan of at certain points. That definitely happened to me with Cap at one point. That happened to me with Digibro, a YouTuber I used to talk about all the goddamn time, and these guys still make fun of me for every time I bring them up, because Digibro does still have some influence on my taste in media these days, but again, I stopped watching them, and pretty much 4 months after I stopped watching both Cap and Digibro, they kind of fell off, in my opinion. And then, I don't know if I have another, very hyper-specific example, but I just know it's going to happen again, and I'm sure it's happened to other people with me, even. It's you like a YouTuber until you don't, until they say the one thing that pisses you off.
See, that's my goal. I want to say the thing that pisses people off every single time I talk, so I never get anybody who's fickle.
For me, it wasn't like he said a thing. It was just he was the reason I liked Geekvolution. It was always a community focused thing. That Nostalgia Critic and all the other contemporaries of that were very much. I'm gonna say the thing and never read a fucking comment because clearly there's nothing good to be found down there. And then Geekvolution was the thing where it's we're going to have a discussion, then we're going to throw it back to you, and we want to hear your thoughts on it. I want you to let us know. And that was just so refreshing. It was a great community to be in.
Because they were originally supposed to be a social media site.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great community to be in for a time But then, like 2015-ish, maybe a little bit before that, they started up their Patreon, and this guy who was donating like $100 a month to their Patreon was just super fucking toxic and very right wing, and was like saying just awful shit to my very good friend Steve, because he was very opinionated and wasn't afraid to say that he thought something was bad, and he thought something was bad because of like very pointed political reasons and instilling very bad politics, and like agree or disagree with him on that point. It was still just, you know, really disturbing the amount of like vitriol and hate he was getting from that community. And basically I can't remember if this was the exact thing he was told, but the gist of what he was told was, well, unfortunately, you're getting that from the people who are giving us money, so I kind of just need you to put up with it and not let it get to you. And that Steve left because of that, and I fucking was so disgusted when I heard about that. I was like, no, Steve's my friend. Like, Kevin Logan's someone that I liked and previously respected, but Steve's my friend, and I'm never going to be okay with someone treated my friend that. Like, essentially, Cap was his boss in that situation, and the person being abusive was a customer. And if you were working at some place like as a cashier and a customer is coming in and, you know, doing all kinds of rants and like threatening your life and shit, and your boss told you, yeah, well, that's unfortunate, you're just gonna have to deal with it because they're a really well paying customer. Nah, fuck them. Like that's just, you leave instantly and don't feel bad about burning a bridge in the process. And so I just never had any interest in that community again. And then on top of it, like everything that they started doing after that, I don't know if they're still doing this, where they're doing like essentially an 8-hour video that they're just uploading in a block, and then they'd like cut that video up into several shorter videos that were all like related to the different episodes of television or whatever they were reviewing.
When I dropped off too, where it
I
was
don't know
like
if they're still doing that or not, but that is just like the worst idea for content I've ever heard of in my entire fucking life.
I think the whole premise was, well, because that was like right at the end of Vince being on the channel. Was Cap was going, well, I can only get Vince for 1 day a week, and I can get him for the whole afternoon. So let's just shoot everything back to back to back, and then I can release it at once or in separate chunks, and people who want to watch it in different ways can. And then right after that, I think is when I started to go like, this isn't fun anymore, was when Vince left and a lot of other people started leaving. Like, I think Steve left right before that, like you were talking about. And then Manos just started appearing less and less, and same with everybody else. And then that's when DJ appeared on the channel, and it became very much the Cap and DJ channel rather than Geekvolution, this community. And that was interesting for a little bit, but it very quickly became tired because they just kept doing the same things and hitting on the same talking points over and over again, and it became more about the big Hollywood comic book news cycle rather than discussing media, even though Cap kept saying, I want to get away from current because there's so much old stuff I've never looked at.
Yeah, no, I lost all. Just on like
I'm trying to think of like YouTubers I fell off of, and like I definitely like fell. I can't like. There's always me forcing myself to watch a YouTube. I feel there's one point. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to cause any drama, but like. There's one point where I tried to like force myself.
Cause any drama, and we literally just dragged an entire like group of people through the mud.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not you, fellas. But like anyway, I tried to like, because so many of my mutuals liked it, and because they liked. I'll give a little hint. These people liked a bit of tokusatsu. And I feel like I should interact with more toku people. I tried to like force myself to watch commentary videos. Worst mistake of my those so bad. Like it's just I'm tired of videos that are just dragging other YouTubers through the mud for like dumb reasons. There's like good critiques. There's some of like internet history ones can be fun, but I am tired of look at this 5-hour video. Let me make a 4-hour video responding to it. You can have a video that's bad. But like you're not don't waste why you're wasting all that effort. I don't get it anymore. and it makes me question why we found YouTube fun in the first place. It makes me feel like
I said earlier, everyone wants their opinion to be bright, beautiful, and special, and it can't be anything else.
And it felt like when I saw that, I felt like I saw two forces of bright, beautiful, and special that were disgusting and were fighting each other. And I'm like, I want nothing to do with neither of you. And I just do not like. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's a big oof. And I will jump back just for a second to say, like, I think what you detailed that Cap did, Ian, is a very shitty thing to do, and it definitely has put him in a harsher light for me. But I should also say that, like, I did used to be one of the biggest Geekvolution fans. I have literally hung out with Cap and Vince in person and been on video with them, and, like, they were nice guys to me, and I want to assume they are generally nice guys, but you shouldn't fucking do that, especially to a guy like Steve, who put in so much work for the channel. Like, he was one of the most consistent co-hosts and one of the most interesting people there for a little bit on that channel.
Yeah, no, Steve was like a big part of it for a long time, and like I was always trying to help out and do stuff. I did like basically these free animations for them that they used for intros for a year or so.
Yeah, I remember that's like one of the first ways I knew you was as an animation guy.
Yeah, now my Maya license expired shortly after Leo was born. I was like, how much is a license for Maya again? And I thought it was $5,000, which turns out no, there's a personal license. That's only $400 a year.
See, that's why I want to learn Blender.
I was about to say, I keep meaning to tell Ian to get on the Blender.
I really wish they'd train her instead of Maya's industry standard and all, and like if you go to work at like an effects house that does work for like, you know, Marvel movies or Star Wars or whatever, they're likely to either have something like Maya or just their own in-house software they make. But just, my God, I would just wish they taught me Blender, because it gives you all the basics, and it's also a free program that you never have to really wait. Because I don't think I can. I know there are people who do, but I don't.
It would probably take like a good weekend of blunt forcing yourself to get the basics down,
which I don't have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it is a bitch. Fucking and the whole reason I got into animation in the first place, because I wanted people to do animation for me for my like, own film projects and stuff that I thought was like relatively simple, like, oh, here's a guy with a T-Rex 3D model. He's already got the model, he's already got it rigged, all the hard stuff is done. Hey, could you render one shot for me inside the T-Rex's mouth as like the jaws open, and like I'll composite me and my friend like screaming in terror, because I thought that was a shot that existed in some movie, but it fucking didn't. Maybe someone will just CG. And this guy that I reached out to that had this 3D model of a T-Rex and had it all rigged and everything, like, yeah, that would actually be pretty easy for me. I've already got all the stuff, so I could do that for probably just like $5,000. What? Holy shit. Maybe I should be getting into this. I could tell people that.
I mean, wow.
Right?
I mean, charge what you're worth and all that, but like, for one shot, that does seem like a bit excessive, unless it's like an insanely high quality model.
I mean, even then, like, you've already got them. You're not making anything new. You're like talking 10 minutes of work setting up the camera, and like it. I was blown away by it when I like knew nothing about 3D modeling. Then when I learned 3D model, I was like, no, that guy was way over. Like, I'm sorry, it's just that was way over.
Yeah, you could get that shit on like Fiverr now, couldn't you?
Oh, probably. I could probably do Fiverr. Like, so much of what evolved on the internet was just perfect for me, like, well before any of it existed. That is just a completely... I was born, like, fucking 5 years too early. If I was in my 20s, like, early 20s, late teens, Fiverr existed, I've gotten so much.
I guess the next place to really likely take this, because we are coming up on almost 2 hours here. We've been on for a little bit. Of course, I say that. I'm terrible at guessing the timing on Craig. It's probably like an hour and 10 minutes. But Where are some places that you would like to see your career on YouTube and maybe just your life in general go in the next few years, other than, like, I guess just keeping Geekvolution and DBDZ alive? Or, I'm sorry, not Geekvolution, Geeky Gentlemen. We talked about them way too much, and I'm now having Freudian slips.
No, you're all good. I don't know. I would like to be able to do more content just on my own channel, but I just realistically, I kind of want to do more videos about just the stuff I'm into. Because I was doing Lego videos for a while, but that was just I built this set that you could go buy and have a much better time with than just watching me build it. So I've been getting into more mocks and custom creations, minifigure customization, which I don't know how interesting that would be. I'm you're looking at this Batman minifig. I'm trying to custom Batman, the Dick Knight. So I kind of want to do more of that. But just time it takes to film a video that somebody interested or invested in right now. Because again, I've got a kid, so I don't want to really take the time out of my over on Geeks for Fun, our series. We just wrote another thing that's not really connected to DC. It's Dragon Ball What If, talking about Yamoshi, the legendary Super Saiyan, who's the Super Saiyan, the first one to ever that all the legends are apparently. We've written the early draft, or not the draft, the like big draft of that script. It's a 3-part epic kind of treatment. And that's been real, just new, basically all original character, just kind of aping one character design, but completely who this character is to fit our needs. There's a special thing of getting to write for a character that you get art for, and it's just you. There's nothing. It's just your character. I made a Saiyan OC, man. It was so cool. His name's Mint, and he's a jerk. I love him.
Did you write "Do Not Steal" on him?
I should have. That's for my Sonic OCs.
Oh God, we didn't even touch on the fact that you're a Sonic fan.
I am a Sonic fan. We just.
I'm so sorry.
We just did a review of the new Netflix series, the Sonic Prime season 1. And it was funny because Alfie toward the end of that, he asked me so if they go around, if they do season 2 or 3 or whatever, and they see other universes, what universe do you want them to explore? And unironically, I know they won't do it, but I'll have so much respect if they did. I want them to do even just as a background gag, something acknowledging all the really weird Sonic fetish art that exists in the world. just I want
one Lion Boom.
I want one version of Sonic that we meet to just be fucking pregnant, just something weird.
It's the Sonic from that one fucking art game that got released recently, like a couple years ago.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Just
I don't know much about Sonic Prime. Is it a big multiverse thing?
So there's it's weird. It's all non-linear storytelling, but they're fighting Robotnik, who's trying to steal this super special crystal called the Shatterstar Crystal, and Sonic kind of just dives at it, spin dashes at it to break it before Eggman can get to it. And it spins him off into different universes that are just wrong somehow, that he's never been a part of, and that have just kind of gone all wrong. So the first one is New York City, where Eggman won, and there's 5 different versions of Eggman or something. It's not really explained, ruling over this city. And then there's one where it's just Eggman doesn't exist, and the forest is just completely overgrown and terrifying. And there's one where Knuckles is a pirate.
It seems like Sonic Sliders.
Maybe. I don't know what that is. I'm old.
Sliders was a late 90s sci-fi TV show where a group of people just pop into different universes, and it's this one America is communist.
That sounds dope.
Wasn't it another Quantum Leap, or was it before Quantum Leap?
Around the same time, no, after Quantum Leap. But it's similar concept. It's just these group of people are trying to get home, and they just keep popping in random universes.
Interesting. Because I was gonna say, now that Now that they are safely behind bars and can't hurt anyone anymore, I would love it if an official Sonic thing actually acknowledged Sonichu somehow. Like, just have a montage at the opening of the next season of Advance. The first episode, it's a montage of there's a time skip, and we're montaging a bunch of worlds that Sonic has jumped through in the intervening time, and just one of them, you see him hop into Quickville and be like, fuck this, and hop out. I would watch a Sonic cartoon if that happened.
I'm looking at like the worlds that they went to in Sliders. It was in 1995. That's when it aired. One universe where penicillin didn't get invented.
Okay.
A universe where an asteroid's about to hit. Great Britain successfully suppressed the American Revolution. Present day San Francisco, Summer of Love never ended. You know,
It's kind of cool.
Mm.
I hate that idea.
Have you had any time to check out Frontiers, Ian? Since Buster
No.
mentioned it in the chat.
Dude, as far behind I am as on comics, I'm just infinitely further behind on games to the point where
Yeah, video games aren't in current for us, boys.
yeah, no, like, dude, I someone asked me this a while back. It's like, what system do you have? I'm like, oh man, I'm behind. I got a PS3, and then I had to sit there and think about it for a second. No, wait, I'm actually not that far behind because I do have a Switch, but that tells you how often I play it. The fact that I forgot I had one. So no, I haven't played Frontiers. The latest Sonic game I played was Forces, and everyone judged me for thinking it was just okay. Like everyone, Sonic's just such a meme. Everyone wants it to be bad, even when it's like objectively not terrible. They just want to like dunk on it.
I think the biggest complaint I heard of Forces was
Sonic games.
I think the biggest complaint I heard of Forces was just it's really short.
I mean, it's not a good game. It basically just plays itself.
Yeah.
For like a lot of it, which is just ridiculous. But no, it's not. It's as far as bad Sonic games go, it is not one of them. If it were any other franchise, maybe it's a bad game. It's Sonic. It's fun. It's literally okay.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I talked about this when we had Nezumi VA, who is a big Sonic tuber on the channel last year, but like. Sonic is just one of those things that, like, even though I understand why people like it, I can't seem to penetrate it for myself. It's very similar to Dragon Ball, whereas I'm like, this is probably good. I can't find that motivation to want to try it.
I think it's so funny that you and I are friends, like chill and stuff, and we have like one fucking shared interest that like even then we're still
we both like DC, and even then we like different parts of DC.
I know, right? That's really fucking funny.
I'm like, Superman and Batman are cool, and you're like, the new gods, Green Lantern.
Yep.
Oh god, you have multiple people just yelling about dumb cosmic bullshit to you then.
Not as often as you wouldn't think. Ian and I only tend to talk like every 2 or 3 months, actually. It's part of the reason why I pitched getting guests on components is so I can bring friends from outside Modular in more often.
A good plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just invite fictional VTuber people on.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Really
Oh, you don't? You best start understanding VTubers, buddy. You're on a podcast with one.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain VTubers now.
Do you like streaming? Do you understand why people would watch someone streaming?
On occasion with some video games, but even that bores the shit out. Like sometimes if I'm having a really hard time falling asleep, I'll put on a stream of a video game. But it can't be just you can't be too excitable. I really got to get those like almost ASMR level things. Otherwise, I don't like it because I just need something to fall asleep to.
I think the best way to describe it is it's, you know how you listen to a podcast and it's like, oh, you're listening to friends talk and you kind of feel like you're part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Watching a live stream, whether it is just chatting or they are playing a video game, is like having an interactive podcast. It's someone you like listening to. It's a charismatic person, and you can type something in the chat to make them say something or to like respond to you or like ask them a question. So there's that aspect. And then VTubing on top of that is just it's just like it's a fun design and people can get attached to them. And if like it's a design that some people get horny over, they can get horny over without making the person themselves feel awkward because it's a character, it's a abstraction.
It's taking the cult of personalityness that already exists with streamers and YouTubers and bumping it up to another level while also guarding the actual person.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. I don't get. I'm too old. I'm too old for your Pokemans and your Digimons.
You're like me with TikTok. I'm like, I can't handle this. I'm sorry. I'm never doing a YouTube short. It's not happening, boys.
But am I the one person who fucking does have a TikTok account?
I think so.
In this fucking podcast right now?
Well, in this podcast, yes, but Snowcone is also an avid TikTok viewer.
Yeah. No, they use Snowcone uses Instagram Reels.
Oh, okay.
Same thing, but I'm just saying. Because he sends them to me on Instagram.
And I mean, like, here's something we have in common, Ian. I also have a huge amount of apathy towards streaming, mainly just because it sets me off way too much to try and engage with streaming. I feel like I have to be constantly involved with it. I have to be typing in the chat. I have to be reacting to everything that happens. I have to pay attention because this is live. It's happening right now. I'm only going to get one shot at this. It's not previously recorded content that I can just passively experience, even though plenty of people do passively experience streams.
It also doesn't help that I made you a mod.
Yeah.
So it's like, I gave you a job.
Whenever I pop into your stream, I feel like I have to make my presence known. And that tends to carry over to other people's streams, even before I was your mod.
And even then, like, Buster's also one of my mods. And they just pop into my stream and don't do any mod work. It's hilarious.
I'll come in and I'll be like, Boingo, why haven't you cleared out all these fucking requests? And Buster will be like, there were requests?
Nice.
Yeah. Streaming is fun. Like, that's a big thing about the big ecosystem of streaming is it's also fun to do it because you get people like responding to what you're saying. So there is an immediate feedback of like, oh, I am being funny. They are finding me entertaining. You know, there's a lot of things.
You say so. I like, obviously you're right because a lot of fucking people are in it, and I've seen streams and stuff where people are like, I'm gonna donate $300 to this person. I'm just like, and there's like fucking what was the?
Oh, that's chump change these days. I've seen like $5,000 donations happen on streams before.
For sure. What was
especially
one
with
of my
like
Twitch subs gave me a Tesla, and so it was to give a gift like this and be just referred to as one of my Twitch subs, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I can.
Well, I mean,
fathom this.
there's always Iron Mouse.
Okay.
What about her?
The amount of people who will just give her money whenever she goes like, oh, I need to save up money for a new medical thing. She's ill, and like streaming is one of the few things she's able to do. And so she's just like, oh yeah, no, I need to get a new bed, and people just thousands of dollars, and she's able to get all the money for a brand new bed she needs in like 5 minutes.
Note, like recently, like Iron Mouse was just like, I just found it funny. She was tweeting about like the freaking Power Rangers Cosmic Fury.
Oh god, we don't need to get into that discourse tonight.
You guys got twit for that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but like I just found it cute how like yeah, she was being respectfully disagreeing, but it was like just cute how she like was like, oh no, not the Q Ranger suits. It's like, you know, that's about it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
I just wanted to mention that because it was like that's the thing. That's a recent Iron Mouse thing.
I know a thing about Iron Mouse.
Is she an actual mouse?
No, she's a
Puerto Rican.
She's a Puerto Rican lady who has like a demon persona VTuber model.
Yeah. And that's also the other fun thing is like if you're into like storytelling and dumb continuity silly things, it's like, oh cool, a little story to go along with the personality, you know?
I guess,
Yeah.
like, again, it's one of those things where I don't think you can explain what's to
Oh,
like
yeah,
about
no,
it. I think you just
I
kind
am
of have
not-
to experience it.
I'm not trying to like convince you of anything now. I'm just like going like, oh yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. Like looking at my friends, because I am a VTuber. I have VTuber friends. Just going down the list, I have a friend who is they're rebooting their whole shit, but they were a cryptid. They were just they were like a Bigfoot, and they just played video games. There's a pixie mecha pilot
Who's been on this show before?
whose mecha is just a regular human-sized person because he's a pixie, and that's the joke. A classic fantasy dwarf, a Doulahan, which is like a headless horseman, but their head is not a pumpkin; it's a drawing tablet. A woman who is a magical girl office lady. You know, it's just like, oh, it's playing pretend. It's playing.
It's wacky characters.
Yeah,
It's playing
And, you know,
cartoons.
it's just one of those things where, and I guess this is kind of a solid way to tie it up, because I think the fact of the matter is kind of going into what Ian was saying, where it's like you can't get the appeal. It's just if you like it, you like it. I think a lot of media is that way, where it's like you can't force somebody to be in the comics by telling them why comics are cool and interesting. They kind of just have to get it. You can't force somebody to be into VTubers or TikTok or a certain kind of movie genre that's not that popular anymore, or even like professional or tokusatsu or professional wrestling. It's just what clicks with you is what clicks with you. And right now, it's trending towards a lot of people are clicking with streaming. That's the happening bar on the street for media consumption, and may not be the best thing for the world, but it is what's going on, and you kind of just have to accept it and enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah. Like, I've been telling my friend a lot that they need to learn self-love. They just need to, like, enjoy what they enjoy and just have to stop, like, just stop caring about what other people just like. If you like it, you like it. That's good. And I think we all can learn something from that, you know?
Like what you like, don't be a dick, don't yuck somebody else's yum.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so that's a podcast.
Is
it?
Whoa, we did
It will
it!
be as soon as we do this. Ian, you are the guest, so why don't you end off by telling everybody where they can find you out there on the internet?
Like I said, you can find me on Sidbar2 YouTube. I'm on Twitter at Sidbar2. And come over to Geeks for Fun and join our Discord server. That's where the only Discord server I'm actually active in. I don't understand the idea of being active in
Jesus, you
one
really
server.
are an old man.
Yes. Well, like Discord's a fucking nightmare because it's like Skype and an old forum had a baby, and that's terrifying.
It's like Skype, an old forum, and AIM had a baby.
I find it so much more easy to understand than old forums, though.
Same.
But that's just me.
Yes. So yeah, no, I can't imagine being active on server like properly active, and I know people that are. And what is
This
your
is like the
life?
fifth derailment of the ending we've had. But
I'm sorry.
Ian,
I'm
I think you could be a great writer for Black Mirror with how little you understand and are frightened by technology now. I would genuinely commission you to write a Black Mirror script about why Discord is terrifying.
I got one. You knew about my pitch? Man, that's kind of cool. You got like an in? Can you get me a job?
I mean, we could maybe get a season at Netflix, but I don't know about beyond that.
Oh god, that's depressing.
Hey, Buster, why don't you tell people how they can be depressed?
Don't go to youtube.com/truebuster because then you'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best. And also, I'm on Twitter at BusterBlue3 where I tweet bullshit. And
Alright.
sometimes I stay up all night and watch Power Rangers RPM and tweet bullshit relating to that. So, I don't know.
I can't believe you did that, but at the same time, I totally can. Boingo, what have you got going on?
Hey, howdy. I am Boingo Writer. I make a variety of content on the goddamn fucking internet. Would you like to see some Twitch streams? I stream on Twitch pretty regularly. I do a variety of things. I play Digimon games and RPGs and quick. What's some other games you like me playing, Vac and Buster?
Everhood? There's Everhood. Maybe Metal Gear. No, you have
Play
to
Sheep Raider. Do it. Do it for me. I can't promise I'll come watch, but do it anyway.
Is
Oh
Pac-Man?
yeah, I do game shows. I do a game show, and there's one coming up soon.
Ooh.
So there's that.
Nice.
I post a variety of things all over the social medias, and I also make video content on YouTube. I make a regular Kamen Rider review series, and scripted content is on the way. I swear, I've been saying this for weeks now. It's true. I've been working on it. And links to all that description: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all down there. And Tumblr. Follow me on Tumblr.
Nice. And I am the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos where I scream out in public about a variety of geeky topics that make me passionate. By the time this comes out, I'll hopefully have a video out discussing Tom King's Vision comic and why it's really good, and it acts as a pretty good starting point for recent Marvel continuity. So go check that out at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. I'm also on Twitter for as long as that platform still exists, at the Vacuuminator. I'm on Tumblr for when that platform no longer exists, thevacuuminator.tumblr.com. And I'm on Instagram posting action figure photography at _Vacuuminator. But folks, that is it for Modular Components this week. Please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell in order to enable notifications. Follow us on Twitter at The Modular Media. Join the subreddit r/Modular Media. Follow us on Tumblr at Modular Media. And thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you back here again next week for the return of Analytical Fanboys. Oh my god, I almost forgot that's next week. Holy shit.